Welcome to About You. I'm Connie Hogan. Well, my guest today brings a very exciting and very timely topic to the show, which is the issue of personalized concierge physical therapy. Here in Michigan, we have such a short season that we tend to just play golf and tennis and whatnot in the summertime, and we might be shortchanging ourselves a little bit with our keeping in tip-top shape. Dr. Dawn Thomas has a Doctor of Science in Physical Therapy and owns her company called Dawn Thomas Physical Therapy. Dawn, welcome.
Thank you.
I know you have so much great stuff, and like I told you before, I'm probably the last person to be talking to you about it, but it's very exciting. So first of all, we haven't talked about this, but talk about how you got into this field.
Okay, sure. So as a kid growing up, I always was very athletic and loved sports and was always playing basketball and doing gymnastics and dance and diving and kind of really involved in sports. And with that comes getting some injuries. And so I had to go through my own experience with recovering from injury and kind of rehabbing myself. And throughout high school, kind of had some pretty big injuries to my knees that put me out of the game for a long time. And that was really difficult as a kid, as a teenager, kind of taking your identity away from you during that time. And so it was really hard to go through that and recover and kind of come back stronger, and actually moved on to do collegiate sports. So I was able to recover from that and still be athletic. And then in my adult life, I'm still very athletic and have always chosen different ways to challenge my body. So, but through that process, I was able to experience rehab. And I had a couple of really good physical therapists really young during high school. And that kind of allowed me to experience it during the phase where I would have been thinking about, well, what am I going to go to school for? And what am I going to do with this information and this experience? And so I thought, well, I could do this for a job. And so I thought that it was a good fit for me. And I was able to kind of combine my love of movement and athletics, and also my love for education and learning and research and school. So I was able to
where did you play and what
together.
did you play and where? Can I ask?
Yeah, absolutely. So I did collegiate diving at Oakland University. And I'm actually in the Hall of Honor for the at Oakland University. That was a pretty exciting moment for me.
Wow.
And I did collegiate gymnastics in Massachusetts for a year, and I also got injured doing that.
Well, that's understandable, right?
And guess what I did after I was during my recovery? I joined the collegiate sailing team in Salem, Massachusetts.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
How exciting.
So I was able to compete Division I sailing on little 14-foot boats on the East Coast.
Oh, my goodness.
And it was a ball. I had a great time, and it was a very different kind of competition, but it was super fun.
Oh my God, I bet. It sounds like fun.
Yeah.
So were you from there? Are you originally from here? Or?
I'm from here. I grew up in Rochester.
Oh, okay.
And so I kind of was looking for adventure and wanted to do college sports. And so
wow, that's quite a diverse group of sports.
Well, it started with
of course,
gymnastics.
water is Michigan, so
It started with gymnastics. And so when I was searching for a place to go, during that time, I graduated high school in 1989, so I actually searched for places that would have Division III gymnastics that I would be eligible for. And so I was able to find a place in Massachusetts that would let me walk on the team.
Oh my goodness.
So that's how I ended up there.
Okay.
And then the diving, when I got hurt with the knee injuries again, I decided I'm going to go back home and kind of like get this all straightened out at home base, and then developed a great college academic career at Oakland. And I spent a lot of time at Oakland doing my education, and really became a second home, because I spent a lot of time there teaching after I graduated, doing the postgraduate program in the manual therapy, which is like extra specialization in manual therapy and orthopedics. And then I was able to teach in that program, and then went on to get my doctorate of science from there. So
Wow.
it's definitely like a
Wow.
like a home base for me.
Well, I have to admit, I didn't even realize the Doctor of Science in Physical Therapy existed until I was preparing for your interview here. Yeah,
that's confusing for a lot of people
Yeah.
because the education for physical therapy has evolved so much
sure
over the
has,
past few
yeah.
decades. And when I was originally in school, it was an entry-level master's degree. And so you would go to 2 years prereqs, then you would apply to the program, and then you would come out with a bachelor's and a master's.
Okay.
And then it transitioned to an entry-level doctoral degree,
Oh, wow.
which means you get an undergrad degree and you apply for graduate school. And so I didn't have that. So I had a master's when I came out.
Okay.
And so I went back and got the doctorate of science that is also a slightly different than the entry-level doctorate too. So it's very confusing for people.
Yeah, it is. Well, physical therapy, and obviously we talk about all the time, the population's aging.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, I'm knock on wood. I have been so lucky because I haven't had to have anything like that really. But I know it's really hard and it's very painful.
Yeah.
And anything that you do have to do like that, and I'm just such a chicken about it and such a wuss. I mean, it's really not something that I think people don't want to think about it.
Well, I think the notion of physical therapy being painful is a little bit of a misnomer because
and I don't mean to say
usually people associate it with acute injury, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Or acute surgery,
Of course.
or coming home from the hospital. But as physical therapists, really we're experts in movement, right?
Okay.
So we do a lot of things that are not pain related, okay? So we look at posture and we analyze movement and we look at performance and we look at recovery and all these different facets of what we know about as experts of movement.
Yes.
That are really can be utilized for wellness and for different things in addition to pain management and injury recovery. So there's a whole different way of looking at it.
Yes, I'm probably looking at the antiquated way. So how long have you had your company as it exists now? Because I know you don't really operate out of an office.
Correct.
You have two things, virtual or going to people's homes. That's what we really
Correct.
want to talk about.
Yeah. So I started my career actually as a travel physical therapist.
Okay.
So my first job out of college was with a travel company. And I was able to work as a physical therapist on my own, traveling. I did the perimeter of the country and then landed back home again.
Oh my goodness.
So,
Wow.
as a 23-ish year old with a paycheck and no bills to speak of, I had a blast.
That's kind of what I did, but more in the financial auditing world.
Did you?
So it wasn't quite as glamorous, but I mean, it was fun because you're traveling and you just, if you don't have pets, that's wonderful, right?
Yeah.
And you just keep going, and I did that for a few years,
Oh, good for
before I
you.
got into everything in General Motors. So I was with GM for 30 years. So so that's how that started, and that idea.
That's kind of how I started, which was a great way to start my career because I was exposed to these different environments, and I kind of had to think on my feet and kind of had to grow up quickly, like in the work environment, because it wasn't a lot of hand-holding in these environments.
I can imagine.
They were short-staffed, they needed help. So that was a quick learning, a lot of learning real quick. And then when I came back home, then I kind of settled in and I worked in hospital systems for years. I worked in hospital systems for 25 years.
Oh, wow.
So in all different environments, outpatient orthopedic, acute care, anything from ICU kind of treatment to all the way through to outpatient to performance type of treatment. So anything in between. And I really liked that about working in the hospital systems because I had access to all those different things.
Right.
And I was able to, see all kinds of like an endless variety of patients, in the rehab units, and so I could use my specialized orthopedic skills, and I could learn and develop my skills as a neurotherapist and a medical, like all these different genres of therapy.
Okay, I got it.
And really that's part of what, it's kind of what is part of my story. It's part of what's built me as a professional, and kind of like gives me this broad perspective on health and rehab and wellness and illness, and kind of like the whole spectrum.
So back then you were like an employee of, let's say, the hospital system or whatever. So now you're an independent. So let's say would the hospitals or doctors recommend you for therapy for their patients?
So usually that doesn't happen.
Okay.
So 5 years ago, I went off on my own to start my own company.
Okay.
And I called it breaking up with the system.
Okay.
Because I disassociated myself with insurance companies, with hospital systems, with employers, so I became my own employer.
That's a huge divorce.
It was a big.
that's more than just a separation.
Big step. It was like stepping off a cliff.
Oh,
for
I bet.
Sure.
I bet.
For sure. And so in doing that, it gave me the freedom to kind of approach people in a different way. So I am not associated with any hospital or physician or office or anything. So that gives me the freedom to communicate with individuals as where they're at. And so when I'm working with an individual, we're talking about what their needs are. We're not talking about what insurance covers. We're talking about, and sometimes people come to me as a primary source of what do I do next?
Right.
I have this problem. What do I do?
I see. That's almost like counseling in a way.
Sometimes I might be the first line of reaching out for. I can't get up. I have a mobility problem. I have a pain problem. Where should I start? Do I need to see a doctor?
Okay.
Do I need to see you? Where do I start? And that's something people sometimes don't understand, because they're in the medical system, and the way that it works is you get a prescription, you go to a physical therapy clinic, and people don't understand that you actually can see a physical therapist without a doctor's prescription.
Yeah, I'm learning that too. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so that's direct access.
Okay, direct access.
So in Michigan, we have direct access. So you as a consumer can see a physical therapist without anybody's permission.
Okay.
Other than your own.
It's so funny how it's just kind of like a macro example of how things have changed.
Yes.
Just you as an example of that in your company. Because in the past that probably wasn't true.
No.
It had to be boom, boom, boom.
And actually, Michigan was one of the last, I think it was the 48th state to get direct access.
I believe it. I believe it.
Took a long time.
The powerful conglomerates, I assume that's why I don't know that, but I assume that.
Yeah.
I could totally see that.
Yeah.
So then how would you, like for your, population of your clients, how they would find you just by word of mouth or by the internet, or how would that work?
Yeah, so I get a lot of word of mouth referrals.
Okay, that would make sense, yeah.
People experience therapy or wellness sessions with my team, and they start to understand how and why it's different than what they might have been experienced before. And then they start to understand, they gave me so much more feedback. I'm able to feel exactly what I'm supposed to be doing.
Okay.
I was doing some of my exercises wrong for so many months, and I didn't understand that I was doing it wrong. And they were able to give me more one-on-one attention, that I was able to be more effective with what I'm supposed to be doing.
Okay.
So that's one example of what people sort of notice, and then they tell their family and friends, and so I have kind of, because I have worked in the community for so long, I kind of had really strong relationships with other healthcare providers.
Right.
And I call it relationship-based
Of
referrals.
course, and that would be huge.
Yeah, so people usually think, well, where are you doctors referring to you? And that's really not the approach I took when I started out. I really just call it relationship-based referrals, because they're people who I know in the community that may or may not be they could be fitness professionals, they could be healthcare providers, they could be, just people in the community. And then it becomes more like coming from a consumer.
Right, that's the way I was thinking of it.
Yeah. And then they go tell their doctors.
See, I could see that too. And you probably have way ahead of me on this, but you would be a great, like, for the influencers on TikTok. I could see this.
Yeah, so
right?
I am on social media.
Okay.
So I'm on Instagram. I am not on TikTok.
You're not on TikTok. You got to get on TikTok.
I can only handle so many. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook.
You
and
could
I'm
be
on
the
YouTube.
new Olivia. What's her name? The gymnast. Remember?
I can't
remember her last
name.
Right? Yeah.
So I actually have a good amount of exercise videos on YouTube. And Instagram, I actually shared on Instagram a lot of my own personal story about I had a knee replacement this past year in December. And so my experience and my perspective as a physical therapist for 30 years, and then having to come full circle from my teenager injuries to now.
That's a great story.
And
a lot of people would relate to that.
Yes. I had to kind of accept that I had to be the patient for a short amount of time. And that was actually quite challenging. But I shared a lot of that process on Instagram.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So explain, there's two primary things, your virtual physical therapy and in-home physical therapy.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about you as your business, how that works. Yeah.
So Concierge Mobile Physical Therapy is essentially a doctor of physical therapy coming to your home, or your place of preference. Could be your gym, could be your office, could be the track, we've been in all kinds of interesting places. And we meet the person where they're at, both physically and functionally.
I got it.
So we help people overcome pain and mobility problems that are restricting them from doing the things that they enjoy. That could be, I feel stiff and I can't play tennis like I want to, or that could be, I just had a total joint replacement and I want to maximize my recovery. How can you help me maximize my recovery? So we work with some people that are very debilitated and have really very complex medical problems. Maybe they had a stroke, maybe they have a neurological Parkinson's, some pretty severe clients that even have trouble getting out of bed.
Oh my goodness, wow.
Yeah, so we have that expertise to work with people that are very low level, all the way up to people that come to me that might be preparing for like adventure travel.
Oh my goodness.
And they're like, Dawn, I have arthritis in my knees, my back is stiff, my shoulder hurts, but I'm going on this rock climbing trip and I gotta carry a backpack. What do I do? And so we work through it.
So that's the fun stuff, right?
Yeah. Well, I love it all. I really do.
Okay.
Because when people make gains that make their life more meaningful to them,
I
that's
bet.
it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'm sure.
So if that means they can sit up and have a meal with their family, that's just as meaningful as the guy going rock climbing with his wife and wants to fit that trip in, and it's all the same. It's all the same.
Right.
It's the joy of helping people find that meaning in their life that requires movement. And
I think this subject too, as you were talking about it, you don't realize it, like with many things in life, until you don't have it anymore. Because I know
Yes.
even when I've had, probably the worst I've had was sprained ankles. But I mean, it's incredible how
Well, you're doing
debilitating.
something right then.
I'm doing a lot right. It's just I'm lazy. That's the key thing with me. It's lazy. But and I don't really enjoy the whole workout thing. But I climb stairs. I have animals, so I'm doing that workout
Yes,
for taking
yes.
care of
That's
them, right?
movement.
And
Yes.
it's, oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah.
But it's, I mean, every day, like sometimes if I like even twist my knee, I'll think, oh my God, how quickly
Yeah.
it could be gone, because I know friends of mine have, oh my God, you just have one little thing can
One
lead to
little
other things,
thing.
but you
Yep.
don't realize it until it's gone. Like I said, with the sprained ankle or whatever, then when you can't do it,
Yeah.
it's just awful. So I can just imagine how,
Yeah.
how people appreciate you and how, I mean, I'm just glad I know you now. So it's just
Yeah.
in case anything
Well, and that's
untoward
why,
happened.
That's why we also we want the message to be prevention just as much as recovery.
Absolutely,
Because,
yes.
and that's a role that as physical therapists within the system per se, we're not given that luxury, because that's not like an insurance provided thing, and that's not really
That's
the
crazy,
paradigm that we've been presented. So part of my joy in doing what I do is that I can talk about prevention, and I can develop programs for people that are solely based on prevention, and put them on strengthening programs that make sense for their medical history and their issues with their joints and their posture specific problems and all of that. So we want people to know that physical therapists can play that role for you. Yeah.
So now let's talk a little bit about the classes you have at the Birmingham First United Methodist Church.
So that's
That
a
sounds
moving
fun.
target.
Oh,
It
it's a
is
moving
fun.
target?
It's a moving target. Our next launch for a class is going to be at the Birmingham Community House.
Oh,
That
okay.
we're going to do a 6-week series starting in October.
Okay.
So it's going to be a 6 weeks balance workshop. So each week is a different session that's a combination of some education and some movement training. So I even avoid using the word exercise, because sometimes people think it's going to be too hard, and it's really not. It's about educating you on finding where your balance deficits are and learning why, and learning actionable steps that you can take to defend yourself against falling. So that's where we created a specific curriculum.
And you're right
for this
near
class.
a senior center that's right near there, right?
Yes, yes.
Was it
yes.
Baldwin House? Is that what it is?
I
Or
think so,
it is,
yeah.
And the other fun little thing about that at the community house, and I think it's around that time frame, there's this organization that I'm kind of loosely support called PACE. It's for
Okay.
older people. It's more about keeping them in their own homes.
Yeah.
And it's actually a Detroit-based charity. But they're having it at Community House.
Okay.
And I think it's usually right around the 1st of October. So that's a perfect little
Yes.
have your
a
signs
piggyback.
up or whatever. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, so you're going to do that, and that's actually going to be like a program. So, how would people, if people were interested, how do they sign up, or is it do they pay, or how did
The registration for that is going to be handled directly through the Birmingham Community
Oh, no
House.
kidding. Okay.
People can always reach out directly to me personally at
Okay.
dawnthomaspt.com.
Okay.
So you can find the phone number and fill out the form, or all the information can be on there. You can dawnthomaspt.com. That's how you can
So I'm
find
going to
me.
hold this book up. That's the book
Yes.
that you wrote.
This is the book, the companion book that goes along with the class,
Okay.
which is available on Amazon.
Okay.
And if you go on Amazon
course.
and you just type in Dr. Dawn Thomas, that book will pop up.
Oh my goodness. And that's more focused on balance, so older people primarily, I
Well, but
assume.
you would be surprised
Okay.
if I took even some of the testing. There's a lot of education in that book, so you don't
Okay. I have a
necessarily
great
have to
idea.
be
Older
like
person, yeah.
debilitated in any way to
Okay.
learn from it and to get something out of it. So, and you'd be surprised if I went through some of the testing on people in their 40s and 50s. you would find some deficits for sure.
I still think that is old, even though
I know, I know.
we get into this a whole subject,
That's what
right?
I mean. That's what I mean.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So we are kind of running out of time. That's a good segue. So we're going to talk about
Okay.
age. But what would you just like to leave our audience with, I guess, basically about physical therapy generally and about your company?
Well, I want to go back to something you said about who you moving around the house and doing your chores and things that you like to do. I want to emphasize that our message is movement is medicine, right?
That's a good one, yeah.
Movement is medicine,
That's awesome,
and
yeah.
you need to find movement that brings you joy, that
Right.
you like to do. And that all counts. All that stuff that you were talking
You
about,
got it, yeah.
that counts as exercise, right? As long as you're not on the couch doing nothing, you're doing
Right.
something, you're moving.
Adopt animals. No, that's the
So-
number one thing I would say. Right?
yeah, if
because
you're
it does. I mean, it's,
Yeah.
you know.
So if you're
putting
having
aside.
trouble incorporating movement into your day or your routine, find something that you enjoy that requires you to move.
That's
And-
great.
And that's the main message I want people to know.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. And I'm sure most people, as I said earlier, you know, this time of year, it's like, oh my God, you just want to take advantage of everything, and then you're wiped out by the end of the day. But
Well-
you may not be doing exactly what you need
Yeah,
to do.
and
But
if you want
movement
more
is medicine.
movement is medicine, and if you want more directed instruction on how to get
Call
started
you.
with that, give us a call at
Okay.
DawnThomasPT.com.
Okay. Thanks, Dawn. It has been so educational and so interesting, and best of luck to you in the future.